My name is Newton Aduaka. I'm a filmmaker from Nigeria. Cinema for me is something that is fundamentally what it is, a tool of expression, a loudspeaker, a megaphone, and then the thing is, then what do you have to say with cinema? And for me, cinema is a tool and a loudspeaker in which I try to speak about things that concern me on very, very personal level, rooted in a from a very personal place. And I try to to anchor those feelings and those thoughts with things outside of myself, outside, that actually I feel interests the wider world and the wider concerns of people. I was being trained as a scientist. I actually studied sciences, hence the name Newton. I think I was supposed to be an astrophysicist. That was the plan. And anything to do with art or culture didn't make any sense. I was not encouraged. But I got to England to continue my studies, to continue engineering, which was what I was studying when I left at 19 from Nigeria. And I came across, it was by chance, went with a friend to a film school. He was going for an interview. And I sat in on the interview, and somehow I felt this was something that I wanted to do. It contained the art, which I was sensitive towards, and it contained sciences. It was a fusion of and a tool of expression that really I sort of understood. There was something that was very magnetic for me about it. I could apply sciences. I could take all this mechanism, this huge technology, and sensitize it and use it to tell very sensitive stories. And so I was hooked. And basically, that's what I've been doing for 20 years. African cinema was something like, this was another stage in my life. I think I spent 6 years not making films, writing scripts, searching, reading, trying to find myself in a way, in every, all kinds of ways. And I remember, and then I made a film called On the Edge. This was in 1997. It was totally independent. Because I suddenly realized, what I wanted to talk about was, the lives of black people like myself that I encountered in the UK. There was no voice. There was no, I realized that this was after the collective. So people like John Akonfa had done their thing, and it seemed like the door had been shut by that point. So I think I met John, and this was about the time I met John. We forged a very close relationship with him, and we talked a lot about black cinema. Met people like Isaac, Julian. That whole collective, and so I decided, okay, it seems like there is no way that one could actually, there's no avenue for us to speak our own voice. So at that time, it was also, there were things happening in the States. There was Spike Lee, there was the independent cinema movement, and so I kind of looked in that direction, and that really inspired me. So it dealt with the psychology of, where I felt us as black people what we're dealing with. I wanted to sort of bring that into, talk about that, and so I made this film, and that film introduced me to the African cinema, and that was my entry into that, which was through festivals. And so I encountered African cinema that way. And again, that began a whole new, education for me. Because before that, unlike in France, we didn't have readily available films from, by Saint-Ben, by the great filmmakers. We didn't have the kind of francophone African cinema, which was what African cinema was at the time, really. So I got introduced into all of that through festivals, and so that's been my journey. That's my journey.